Patchy? Yes? Why can't I go outside? That wouldn't do us any good. The gems he inflicted might cause us each if we go unplanted. We must stay here for the time being. Oh, okay. I was hoping we'd play something. Apache Tears let out a frustration sigh. We don't play games anymore. Maybe when we take down Steven and everything back in order, maybe we will. Okay. Spinel continued to watch Apache Tears typed into her computer. A camera pulled up in the corner of her screen, scanning for any intruders. She hated to tell her best friend that she was bored, and not only that, she had become uncertain about this whole revenge thing. Of course, she did promise Apache Tears that they'd take revenge on this Steven universe, but there was something all about this seemed wrong. And that name, she barely knew this creature, and yet it sounded so familiar. She couldn't just quite put her finger on it. Her voice slightly above a whisper, but Apache Tears paused, hearing the insistence in the other's tone. But what? Spinel's eyes glistened, despite the dim light. I don't know about this, Apache Tears. This feels wrong. I know you just told me about how Gemkind is taking over, and I promise you I'll make him step down, but I don't know why. But something about this Steven, there's something about him that I don't want to hurt. You fool! Apache Tears' voice raised as she stood up from her chair and forced Spinel to step back. That's exactly what he wants you to think. It's his virus trying to affect you. Don't be an idiot. We are the only gems of our kind, and this is our way to avenge those innocent kinds by getting rid of the murderer. This is the only way. Do you understand? Spinel nodded fearfully, shrinking over back against the wall as Apache's Tears loomed over her. After seeing this, letting out a breath, Apache Tears relaxed. Spinel, please forgive me. You are my best friend, and I don't want you to get infected or be shattered. I wasn't able to save the diamonds or the gems forced to live here. That thought of losing you too. She covered her face, falling to her knees while crying softly. Spinel immediately felt guilty, crawling over back to the black and white gem and hugging her. Apache Tears appeared to be stunned by her attempt of comfort, and instantly hugged her back. Oh, Spinel, you're such a treasure, she mumbled, grinning into Spinel's shoulder, knowing that she had her won over her friendship. Apache Tears wasn't going to let Spinel go. Never ever let her go. Amethyst! Steven yelled, holding up a donut. I've got a tasty donut. Come and get them. Still on Lion's back, they strolled through a neighborhood hoping to find Amethyst. Steven sighed. Worth a try. Where could she be? Crashing noises could be heard, and he saw what seemed to be a Vidala's house, and the noises were coming from being inside the garage. Amethyst? Pushing the curtains aside, Steven stepped inside the garage, seeing multiple portraits laid around. But when he stopped at one of them, it blinked, and Steven yelped and Amethyst copied his yelp, shifting back to her small form. Steven gasped and sighed, Amethyst, thank God you're okay. Thank goodness you're okay, Amethyst betrayed. I'm very not okay. Steven rubbed the back of his neck. I've got a plan, and I'm going to get us all back piece by piece and rescue Spinel. As for your pieces, like these paintings, do you remember being painted? The short gem picked up a portrait. Being painted? Steven gave her the finger guns. Pew pew! Do you remember the handshake? Our handshake? Asked Amethyst, shapeshifting into Steven. Steven thought of something else. What was about the singing, dancing? He then turned on the lamp. Do you remember singing and dancing with me? Amethyst curiously tilted her head, unsure of what he was talking about. When Steven takes Amethyst out for fries and heads in the arcade, they did cheat on a game of skee ball and had fun. After they ran out of the arcade for a while, they caught in a train and traveled to the kindergarten. It was pretty fun. Amethyst then finger-gunned Steven at the end. Steven was surprised, and after finger-gunned at her, pew pew! Amethyst then stared at her hand, slowly recoiling the headshake that they'd just performed. Realizing it worked, Steven brought her in for a hug. Amethyst! Whoa! Gaped the purple gem before she began to glow and floated upwards from her shifting form from their previous forms. As Stephen watched in awe, MFS changed back into her current self and landed on the ground. MFS got to her feet, grabbing her forehead. Ugh, what happened? She was caught by a surprise as Stephen hugged her and twirled her in the air. MFS, it worked! You're back! The two of them clapped and hugged tightly. After a few seconds, MFS then pulled away. Hey, wait, what happened to the others? What about that gem, Apache? She tried to remember the name. Apache Tears! Stephen's mood then changed back with a dime, going back to being scared and grabbed her shoulders. She erased Garnet and Pearl's memories, and her rejuvenator made my powers useless. And what's worse, she took Spinel with her. MFS was being shooken, and then she stopped him. Whoa, Stephen, calm down. Stephen continued to hyperventilate, his eyes swelling up with tears. MFS held onto his shoulders, trying to calm the teenager down. All right, buddy, she reassured. It's okay. We're going to find her, I promise. Where's Garnet and Pearl? Stephen sniffled. It's a long story, but I'll just say that their memories were wiped and I have to restore them. I think something happened with Spinel, but there hasn't been any sign of her or Apache Tears. MFS nodded in understanding. Got that. Then we should start heading back. Maybe we better restore Pearl and Garnet's memories first. Then we'll be able to get Spinel back if we're all together. Right. Finding the right train they took, they waited until they reached their destination to find Greg, Pearl, and Garnet, and everyone else. MFS then glanced over at the stressed-out Stephen, as he continued to think himself, even collapsing his hands together, as if he was praying. Back at the little homeworld, Bismuth, Jasper, and Lapis and Peridot were already talking to a few other quartzes, Nephrite, Snowflakes, Obsidian, and even the other gems who befriended Spinel. And I want you all to check beyond Beach City for a white ship or Spinel, Jasper ordered, when they heard footsteps getting closer and louder, seeing Stephen and MFS. Hey, we got MFS back, Stephen announced, slightly joyful, panting a bit from the running. MFS winked. Yee! Peridot then gave him a thumbs up. Excellent, and we're just heading off to patrol to find Spinel. When Stephen heard this, he sighed in relief. Oh, thank goodness. He noticed something. Hey, where's Garnet? Lapis shrugged. She must have wandered off. Great, Stephen groaned. Now we gotta find her too. While she was heading off to Beach City, following Greg and Pearl. No worries. We'll handle Apache Tears. Wonder what her deal with us is. And that's going to be our problem. We don't know a thing about Apache Tears, Stephen exclaimed, before his face lit up. Except Pearl. Maybe Pearl knows. She knows a lot about these things. Ains. I'm afraid I can't help, Pearl said, and unfortunately, I'm currently in the service of my Greg universe, preparing for tonight's concert, showcasing a promise resemble of the rock and roll engineer. She then rolled her eyes on the tongue. MFS then let out a chuckle at her antics, Stephen appearing semi-defeated. They all backed away as Greg appeared, still talking on the phone. I know, Mayor. I know you're panicked to hear about what happened, but I'm sure the gems have got all that handled. You know them. Sadie's concert will be a clinch. Everything's gonna be fine. He ended the call and then saw the duo. Oh, Stephen, you found Amethyst. Who is Amethyst? Amethyst joked, imitating the robotic-like steak. Greg became worried. Oh no, she's gotten worse. Amethyst dropped the act. Nah, I'm just goofing. Too soon, Amethyst. They soon heard a crash from the storage unit, which was only Garnet lying entangled in a pile of red and blue cables. Garnet, are you okay? Greg asked. The fusion stared at the cables. Did you want the red cable or the blue cable? It doesn't matter. They're the same, Greg exasperated, until he turned and saw Pearl placing a guitar on their gemstone. Pearl, what are you doing here? We need those for the show. Who cares about the rock show? Stephen angrily lashed out. We have to find Spinel and stop Apache Tears from succeeding at whatever plan she's got. And if we got any chance to know what she is, we need Pearl back. And to do that, we need her missing pieces. She, Spinel, and Rose rebelled together, so maybe she's got to rebel with you. Since Spinel's not here, we gotta stage something big, dramatic to jog her memory up. I like a rock show, Amethyst wrapped up, her arm around his shoulder. Steven's got the gist. Ha ha ha! Yeah, I think Sadie's got the song that would help. You think it's gonna work? Greg asked nervously. Steven nodded, both anxious and yet hopeful. It's the best idea we got. Spinel then continued to stare out the window, seeing the sky getting dark and glistening with stars, but another light came from the abandoned buildings. Apache, she spoke up. Yes? I see some lights down in one of those buildings. Confused, Apache Tears got up from her seat and joined Spinel's side. She glanced over the neon blue and pink lights. It appears they're having a party or something. Like an infestation or something? Yes, an infestation. Steven Universe must be down there. Spinel pounded her fist into her palm. Then let's get him. Hold on, Spinel. All I need to do is finish updating the lasers on the ship, and we'll pay him a visit he'll never forget. After Apache Tears walked back to her controller, Spinel stared at her reflection at the giant window. She didn't like her overly cute appearance, as she rubbed her hands over her heart-shaped buns. Moving her hands away, her buns became overly messy. Wasn't too much of a change, but she was satisfied with it. Steven Universe was going down.